Despite the off-putting outward appearance of the characters, My Life as a Zucchini is an amazing and heartwarming story about trauma, found family, and healing. The movie begins by showing us our main character, Zucchini. He is a very creative child who lives with his alcoholic, abusive mother and an absent father. And if that wasn't sad enough, he becomes an orphan when he accidentally kills her.
Jesus Christ!
While entertaining himself, Zucchini goes around the house collecting his mother's empty beer cans to build a tower, only to knock them over by mistake. Furious, his mother, in a drunken stupor, makes her way to the attic where Zucchini's room is. In fear and desperation, he closes the door on her as she walks up the steps, knocking her down the stairs. And I must say, him realizing what he's done, just as it begins to rain, and seeing this helpless child cower in fear has to be one of the most heart-wrenching moments I've seen in a movie in a long time. It's hard to even really grapple with that emotionally. This child who was being abused by an alcoholic, negligent mother, a father who is nowhere to be found, has just accidentally murdered his mother. And in search of any sort of comfort, he hugs a kite he made with a superhero he drew on it. As Zucchini is being taken to an orphanage, Raymond asks him if he would like to fly his kite while they're driving in the car, and then Raymond puts on his siren so that Zucchini can fly his kite in peace. And look, I'm not a fan of cops, but this one scene for a moment made me go, damn, maybe, just maybe, blue lives do matter. And then I remembered this is a cartoon and I tightened the fuck up. Gotcha, bitch! Zucchini is taken to his room in the orphanage and shown where he will put his belongings, and there's some anxiety, of course. Poor Zucchini is probably under a lot of stress and emotional turmoil. His life has been turned upside down, so in order to give him some space, Rosie steps out into the hallway, and just then we see Zucchini pull a drawer out and put in his kite that he's been holding on to the entire movie and an empty beer can. I'll use an avatar because it's fun. In person, I am quite intimidating. People have told me to my face that once they talk to me, they realize how nice of a guy I was, but before that, they were terrified. All of that is to say, I'm a tough boy, but I wonder how people would feel if they knew how often I'd be in my house just trying not to ugly cry to animated movies, because that scene almost broke me. I had to pause and just collect myself. This scene is two ashes being turned to stone sad. This is a metric I just invented, no one steal it. I never thought I would say these words, but I want to kick this orphan in the face. He is a little shit. He bullies everyone, he immediately starts picking on Zucchini as soon as he meets him, and sure, I'm no child psychologist, but I'm sure there is likely something wrong with the orphan child with a massive scar in his head. There's probably some unprocessed trauma, but because I'm no child psychologist, I just think he's a little shit who needs his ass kicked. Being in a new environment is hard enough, but having to adjust to that being your new home is even harder. Like, imagine trying to sleep and you wake up and someone went through your shit and is flying one of the only things you have left of your home. Like, why would you take his kite? That goes beyond bullying, bro. You're just a dick at that point. So Zucchini gets rightfully upset and threatens to break Simon's arm. Concerning, because like, that's insane. Like, where did he learn that from? But whatever. I say fuck it. Do it, bro. That cop Raymond seemed like a good guy. You're obviously friends. He won't let you go to jail. Beat that ginger orphan's ass, bro. God damn it. They made me empathize with Simon. Of course his story was going to be sad. He's an orphan. But I didn't know it was going to be both of my parents are drug addicts sad. After getting in trouble for fighting and Zucchini being told, hey, your mom is in heaven. This is your new home now. Simon tries to befriend Zucchini and tells the story of all the children there. Firstly being Bia, whose mother was deported back to Africa. And I just want to say, if you think family should be broken up based on something as arbitrary as borders and quote unquote legal status, you're kind of a piece of shit. Like, if I was a cop or a government employee that had to deport someone's mother and orphan a child, I generally don't think I could live with myself. Like, I'd probably take a bath with a toaster. Especially if I'm from a Western country with just how bad we have destroyed developing countries in pursuit of greed and profit. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the eye. And if you support doing that kind of thing, you are either misinformed or just an outright bad person. Then there's kids like Jujube, whose mother has like crippling OCD where she will open and close the fridge all the time or spend weeks cleaning a toilet. Ahmed's father held up a store in order to afford shoes for him. And then there's Alice, who used to have nightmares because of the things her father did to her. It's all so heartbreaking that it makes me angry. It's upsetting that there's so many places in the world with kids just like this, with stories just like theirs, that are suffering, and people have just grown numb to that. A suffering that could be eased by kind people in positions of power and not the psychopathic toxic narcissists we do have in power. A new girl shows up at the orphanage and Zucchini immediately develops a crush, but in typical guy fashion takes it too far and delves into Camille's personal life, learning that she's an orphan because her dad killed her mom and then himself, and she saw the whole thing. Simon really bounces back between an asshole with a heart and just an asshole, and I can't decide if I like him or not really. While on a road trip as a group, Zucchini inches closer to touch Camille's hand while she's asleep, which, don't do that. Always ask consent, especially if she's not awake. I know it's probably meant to be cute, but just rule of thumb, young men, always ask, it can't hurt, and always respect the no. A scene later in the movie is probably meant to be sad, but I genuinely burst into laughter when all the kids are playing with one another, and I see a child fall and then hug their mother, and the kid who's hugging their mother looks over to see 7 children staring at him, and it was unironically so funny because, like, I get it, you're orphans, I'm sure you all miss your parents / mother, but imagine those bug eyes staring at you while you hug your mom. Zucchini and Camille sneak out because they can't sleep and they just sit and talk, and this feels like such a grown-up scene. Not grown up meaning like inappropriate, but grown up in that the emotional depth it has is quite shocking, especially for a movie that I assume is for children. Zucchini says to Camille, I made you a gift for your birthday, and Camille is like, my birthday was months ago. Zucchini then pulls out a toy boat made from the empty beer can he kept from his mother as a memento. Aww. As Zucchini reveals how he knew it was her birthday, they both lay in the snow, and we see them almost in real time process their trauma. As Zucchini reveals how he sometimes dreams his mom is still alive and he grows up to become an alcoholic just like her, and how he's happy that that won't happen. Camille's aunt comes around trying to take her to live with her, and Camille tells Zucchini that she actually is verbally abusive and cruel to Camille, and that if she lives with her, she will likely hurt herself or her aunt. The aunt almost convinces a judge to allow her custody of Camille, but Camille actually uses the MP3 that Simon got from his mother to record her aunt being cruel to her, and just like that, Simon is my goat. Always believed he had a heart of gold. The movie ends with Camille and Zucchini being adopted by Raymond the cop, which is a little weird because Camille earlier in the film almost kissed Zucchini before being interrupted by her aunt. But is it really a French film if it isn't a little weird and make you go, huh? At some points? Overall, this was great. This was a really awesome movie that knows just how to tug at your heartstrings. It's well made. You can see the emotion and passion in every single second of the movie. The rare music that is in the film complements the scenes wonderfully. Every character was lovable. Even Simon became the GOAT eventually. Like, every character was so awesome, I found myself always wondering, when will people show their true colors? And I'm not sure if that's because I'm a cynic at heart or because I've been watching too many movies where things are rarely as sweet as they appear and the other shoe is going to drop at any moment. Despite the serious and often devastating underlying reality of everything, like the fact most of the kids have been abused or scarred physically and or emotionally, this movie handles that with a tenderness you don't really expect. It's more of like we are all hurting / have been hurt, but we will get through this because we have each other, and that is inherently beautiful, and it somehow manages to do all of this in only an hour. Great movie. I can't recommend it enough.